Hi, my name is Randy Liebold, and I teach the Principles of Sociolinguistic survey course here at KNAL, and I'm going to be sharing a brief summary of that course for you today. First of all, why should you take this course? This course is definitely designed for those who plan to do language survey as an official assignment somewhere on the field. Definitely a key course for them, but it's also helpful for anyone who plans to be working in language development or Bible translation work. Many language program workers end up doing at least some kind of assessment or survey work as part of their overall work among the speech communities that they serve. And even if you never end up doing formal assessment or survey as a language program worker, the course will give you a much better understanding of the sociolinguistic dynamics that are important and relevant for the success of a language development program. So this course as a whole will help you to be much better equipped to understand the sociolinguistic dynamics of a speech community that you're working with, and how the information from that assessment can lead to much more effective language program work. Okay, so in terms of an overview of the main topics we look at in the course, we begin with some foundational topics. We begin by talking about the purpose of assessment. Why on earth do we go through all this effort, and how the data we gather from assessment contributes to good decisions for language program work. We wrestle a little bit with this idea of language versus dialect. These are not terms easy to define, and they're very relevant when you're doing language program work, defining language and dialect boundaries. We talk about the extensibility of literature. So if literature exists in a particular speech variety, how far can that extend to other speech communities in the area? We also look at different types of surveys that can happen, go into a little bit of detail of some of the main types that are most likely to happen on the field. And we also give students an overview of the entire survey process. How does survey begin? What's involved with the planning, the field work, the analysis of the results, and then writing up reports and communicating results to people who make decisions among the administration. Okay, so after the foundational topics, we get into some elements of research methodology. So we talk about research planning, how to do that well, how to think about how we're researching so that we're getting the right data we need for the answers we're looking for. We talk about research things like variables and sampling. Both of those are important aspects of research. We also address some topics of theory in the course. Of course, we're going to address sociolinguistic theory. Really getting an understanding of what are some of the sociolinguistic dynamics that happen among minority language communities that are the typical ones that we might end up surveying. We also address language program theory as well. Since that's much of what our information feeds into, we need to understand how a language programs are being conducted. And then we also talk a little bit about the idea of language standardization. Since that's a very important topic connected with language program work as well, and some of our survey work feeds into information about that. Okay, and then we also talk very specifically about some practical survey tasks, things like how to write a preliminary plan for a survey, so that you're setting off your survey work in the right direction, conducting a background interview, doing some secondary research, which is basically other background research for a survey, and then writing a more formal survey proposal that would need to be written and approved. And we talk quite a bit about report writing. It's important that the results are communicated well, so that the survey efforts aren't lost and wasted. And then other things like working as a team, since many surveyors end up working on some kind of a team, and even working ethically is an important concept to be aware of. And then also working with language program personnel, as survey teams work with people who are actually involved in language program work. Okay, and then kind of in response to those different survey tasks, we look at assessing very specific sociolinguistic concepts. We look at how do we assess language vitality. Okay, that's a very important issue. Whether a language is dying out or not is a significant issue for language program work. Bilingual proficiency, another important concept worth assessing. Dialect relatedness and comprehension among speakers of different dialects, that's going to be very relevant. Ethno-linguistic identity. and even the extensibility of literature, and other things like scripture use, and even a little bit about surveying sign language. How do we do that well? Okay, and then we get into more detail on some of the tools used to assess the above concepts. Things like questionnaires. How do you compile a questionnaire? How do you conduct, how to use that questionnaire? Word lists, recorded text testing, which can get used for a variety of reasons, and even some participatory tools, getting the community engaged in the assessment process more directly. Okay, and then yeah, if you don't get a chance to take the course and you want some suggestions on how you can grow as a language surveyor, I would highly recommend the book that we use as a textbook by Decker and Grummet, Understanding Language Choices, A Guide to Sociolinguistic Assessment. This book presents a great overview of the sociolinguistic issues that are worth assessing and describes some of the methodologies for doing that assessment. Another option would be to take what is called the Principles of Language Survey course, not to be confused with the course that I'm talking about. This course is a course package that has been created by SAL and very recently updated. Basically, you would need to get access to the course materials that exist, and I actually have access to those, so you could talk to me about that. But this course can essentially be done from anywhere, from any location. It's primarily an independent study, has a lot of readings and assignments that go with those readings. But you would need to be supervised by a field mentor. So if you're going somewhere to do language survey, and or you weren't intending to do survey, but you find out you need to, you can decide to take this course paired with a field mentor and work through the course kind of on your own pace to work through it. Okay, so that's kind of ends my presentation here. So if you have any questions about the course or would want further help on your own learning related to sociolinguistic survey, I'd be happy to have an email from you or talk to you in person. Thank you.